Class, this is Dr. Cordova. The final assignment is due on the last day of class. The last day will be here sooner than expected. In preparation for the final assignment, I made this video to go over the assignment instructions. This video does not intend to provide new information about the assignment, but will try to explain the instructions. The format of the paper is APA. All of you are expected to know how to format a paper in APA. I'm not the APA police in any way, but I do expect students to have general knowledge about APA, and your paper should resemble something like APA. Each of you should have this knowledge already. Resources in course materials is important. There are several documents about APA. The document called Example of APA Format and APA Information is of great importance. This document shows you how an APA paper should look visually, and it includes key APA information in the body of the paper. But you must read it. The example refers to APA 6th edition in the body of the document, and you know we're using 7th edition. But all the content in the document still applies. So never mind the 6th edition. It's good. The expectation is that each of you knows how to write a paper, regardless if it is APA or MLA. I'm talking about the basics. How to format a sentence with the subject, verb, and the rest of the predicate. And how to do an introduction and a conclusion. Placing a heading called Introduction does not transform a paragraph in an introduction. The introduction introduces each of the subtopics of the paper. In this specific case of the final assignment, the subtopics are significant decisions and consequences of the simulation, reflection about decisions, measuring the value of HR programs, and an HRM model. It is not within the scope of this course to teach you about writing a paper or about APA. I provide this information and the resources found in course materials for your benefit and as a reminder, but you should already have this knowledge. I would like to clarify that this format for a paper is not my format. It is not my exclusive format. It is not an APA format. It is a generally accepted format for a paper that expects to have an introduction, the body, and a conclusion. Believing that I should explain about the format of a paper are wrong expectations, because this is not an English course and this is a graduate course. You should have that knowledge already. If you don't, or feel insecure about your knowledge in writing a paper, I included many resources in course materials, like University of Comments, videos, and examples of APA and other information. Well, enough said about writing papers. Some general reminders that you should already know because they are in the example of APA paper and APA information found in where? Resources in course materials. APA papers should include a title page. No abstract is required because but if you include it, there's no deduction. Abstracts are for publication, but it's fine if you want to include one. You do not need to include an abstract. But you do need to include an introduction, the body of the paper, a conclusion, and reference page, as you would for any paper. APA calls for double spacing the entire document. Do not leave extra lines between paragraphs. Use straight double spacing and indent the first line of each paragraph. Use headings. I cannot emphasize this enough. Use headings. Headings help you to organize your paper and your thoughts about the paper. Headings are more for your benefit than for the benefit of the reader. If you know how to write very well, which many of you do, and transition from paragraph to paragraph smoothly and from subtopic to subtopic, the paper may not need headings, but you would still need to use headings to present your work and for APA. So, use headings. Examples of headings for this final assignment would be introduction, significant decisions, reflection on simulation, and model. The syllabus includes a section called assignments, just before each of the individual assignments. This section includes some important reminders that you should already have read. Each major assignment tells you the learning outcomes you will meet if you do the assignment correctly, the purpose of the assignment, and criteria for success. If you're reading criteria for success, to support main statements and ideas with research, and have a section of 3 paragraphs or so or more with one lonely citation, you are not supporting your work with research. How many citations should be included? As many as needed. The issue here is about what you are saying, the statements you're making. You need to make your readers believe your statements with evidence, and that evidence would be citations. Write in third person, not first or second. First and second are used for informal writing to family and friends. Again, see the video and the article about effective writing. Where? In resources in course materials. The last item for criteria for success is the human resource management model. It should be a model of your own creation. You create it. It is not about using an existing model. It is about creating one with your creativity and knowledge. Name your model. You are the scholar, and you should name your creation. You may call it by your last name, such as Smith Model of Human Resource Management, or something else. It's up to you. It is your baby and you get to name it. Remember, for the figure, no colors, just black and white. So you get to draw your model in a figure, an APA figure. You can see the example of a figure. You're right. Resources in course materials. Use the tools available to you in Word and in PowerPoint. Some of the tools that you could find for the model, how to draw the model, is that funnel, the Venus diagram, some arrows, or some other creative way to showcase your model. The figure needs to have a title and a number. For example, Figure 1, Smith model of HRM. You need to include at least 1 or 2 paragraphs explaining how your model functions and to support it with research in those paragraphs. Your assignment is to write a paper or 1,500 to 2,000 words. Remember that I do not count words. The number of words is given to provide some guidance and not as an exact requirement. The first question of the assignment is to discuss reasoning and consequences for the most significant decisions made in the simulation. You decide which ones are the most significant decisions you made. Considering that this is a short paper, mentioning 3 or 4 or as little as 2 would be fine. If you include more than 4, 10 or more, it is fine. You decide. If they are all significant, it is fine. The second question is to do an APA table. It needs to be an APA table. No vertical lines, with the most significant results for all 6 decision periods or 6 quarters. Again, you decide what are the most significant results for each of the 6 periods. You could include 1 decision or all of them for each quarter. See course materials under resources for an example of a table in APA format. Remember again, black and white, no colors. Use horizontal lines to organize the table, no vertical lines. The third question of the assignment is to reflect on the final results and on each of the decisions you made during the 6 quarters or 6 weeks of the simulation. Be your own judge and write on your paper if you did the right thing now that you know the consequences of your decisions, or if you would change anything, any decision, or any set of decisions for a quarter or maybe more. You will be writing about your own reflection on how well you did or not, but you still need to find research to support your statements. If you say that you should have invested more money in training, for example, find a resource that states that it's good to invest in training or something like that. The next question of the assignment is about metrics. Review metrics for measuring the value of programs and human resources functions. Recommend a specific method for reviewing your programs and explain why and support it with research. If you say that return on investment is the best method, find research that states that return on investment is the best method or something like that. Something related to that. And of course, there are other non-financial ways to measure programs. You choose one. The last question of the assignment, is to do the model for human resource management using the results of the simulation. For example, if increasing the investment in training increased employee morale, then you should show in your diagram and in your narrative that relationship. Your model needs to include many components, but at least it should include ethical practices, best HRM practices, best practices in employee development, and current trends in human resource management. Plus, you should add any other component that you believe important based on your simulation, like perhaps decreasing grievances or increasing productivity. Explain the main components of the model. You need to support your model with research, and if possible, with theories. This is it, the final. Easy, isn't it? I emphasize the writing of the paper because from time to time there may be one or two students who did expect me to go over this. But all this information is provided in my instructions, in the syllabus, and where? Resources in course materials, of course. The model is worth a significant amount of points. The model is like the capstone for this course. Spend some time planning it, designing it, and creating it. Plan to submit your final as soon as you can and as early as possible. Technical emergencies could happen if you're trying to post your final at 11:45 p.m. on the last day of class. Avoid it if you can. If you post the wrong document and need me to clear your post, contact me immediately. I will be watching the classroom, checking in several times during the last day of class to make sure that there are no issues or emergencies. If you have other technical issues, I cannot help you. Contact technical support. I will be adding manually to your final score of the final assignment any extra points you may have, for example, the course evaluation or any extra credit you did. This will be done when I grade your final assignments, and remember that I will send an announcement. I am looking forward to grading many perfect papers. I enjoy reviewing papers that are double-spaced with headings that flow from subtopic to subtopic in a nice manner and are supported with many citations and that meet the requirements. I like it when students earn 100% on their assignments. Let me know as soon as possible if you have questions. I appreciate your patience in viewing this long video, going over basic format for writing papers, but some students may benefit from this information. Thank you. Best wishes in your program and careers to each of you.